Mina Israel is a board director at JPS. She's a former banker with over 30 years of corporate, commercial, and retail banking experience. Mina Israel was appointed Distinguished Business Fellow at the University of the West Indies Mona School of Business, effective March 2012. Prior to her appointment at the Mona School of Business, Mina was the president and country head of RBC Royal Bank Jamaica slash RBTT Bank Jamaica for 4 years. In January 2003, she was appointed the first female country head of Scotiabank and spent 3 years as managing director of Scotiabank Bahamas Limited, leading approximately 700 employees to achieve outstanding results. Mina's performance and contribution to the wider society has made her the recipient of a number of local, regional, and international awards. Today, she presents to us on Get Out of Your Own Way. And when she comes, she will present her panel that will take that discussion to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the team. Mina.
Thank you. We're going to turn it down a little. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
You know, just watching these presentations, we are so energized, we are so powered. But I share with you that you are strong when you know your weaknesses. You are so beautiful when you appreciate your flaws. And you're wise when you learn from your mistakes. So it's really such a pleasure to be here this afternoon to share with you all who have made the choice to be here and to share with my beautiful panelists. It's such a pleasure that our visionary and bold leader, Kelly, conceptualized this and executed it. We salute you, Kelly. We laud you and your team. This is truly first world, first class. Good. So this afternoon, the session we are going to be doing, we're going to be exploring and discussing the topic, Get Out of Your Own Way. And I'm pleased to have 4 fantastic, phenomenal women, different ages, as you notice, much younger than I am, who all work in male-dominated environments, very competitive male environments. So we hope that this discussion we will have will help you to break the cycle and to unleash your true potential by identifying and removing barriers to your success. So the way we're going to do it, I'm going to do a short 10.5 minute presentation. And then each of the panelists will share with you for 5 minutes some of their experiences, their story. But what we want to do this afternoon is to leave a lot of time for your participation. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'll start out by asking you one question. How do you view the world? What's your world view? And we heard a lot of it over the last day and a half. But the experts have posited that there are 2 ways to view the world. 1, the benevolent way, and 2, the malevolent way. The malevolent or negative way, it's where the person takes a victim stance. Nothing now going for me. Everything is going bad. They don't like me at work. I'm being oppressed. That negative stance. They don't expect a lot, and really, they don't get a lot. When things go wrong, they shrug their shoulders and say, hey, boy, my life that, I can't do any better. There's nothing I can do to make it better. On the other hand, now, you have the benevolent or very positive worldview. And that person sees the world around them as filled with opportunities, filled with possibilities. They believe that everything happens because they were made to be great. They believe that they approach their lives, their relationships, whether at home or at work, They approach everything with a positive attitude, cheerfulness, and they expect everything to go right. And usually, everything goes right. So I ask you again, what's your worldview? What's your worldview? The second point I'd like to make is that, and we saw it over and over again in a number of the presentations, you should use stumbling blocks as stepping stones. Use stumbling blocks as stepping stones. According to the stats, 70% of what we'll do, the decisions we'll make, will be wrong. And that's an average, eh? For me, it was more than 70. For you, it may be less. But it's really hard to believe that most of the things we'll do, most of the decisions we'll make will be wrong. But we all make mistakes. And particularly we women who are super mothers, super women, always so busy, we make more mistakes. The question is, how well and how effectively do you deal with those mistakes? How do you get up and go after making those mistakes? How do you learn from them? I share with you that a big mistake I made in my life when I was at the top of my game in banking. And as I shared with my mentee, Madge, earlier, I was so cocky. And she said, that's not the word women would use. It's confident. I was so confident. I thought I could do it on my own at that stage. Big mistake. For those of you who are at the top, Kelly, you know how lonely it is at the top. And that's when you need your coach more. That's when I need Lisa more. So I learned very early that every stage of your life, you need that coach, no matter how good you think you are. So the way to handle a mistake is to accept it when it occurs. And don't prolong the consequences of the mistake. Make it, it will be extremely painful if you do nothing about it. Learn from it and move on. Make sure that at the end of the day, you are the master of that change rather than the victim. You make that decision to learn from your mistakes and move on. So the person who recognizes that he has made a mistake and changes direction fastest is the one who will win in the age of increasing information technology and competition. By remaining fast on your feet, by being able to play out and position yourself against the competition, you will become a creator of circumstances rather than a creature of circumstances. And when I read that, I said, hey, I'm sure our Prime Minister, Andrew, must have learned. He must have been coached. And he must have learned from this. And see now, today is a winner. The third point I'd like to make is that using happiness as a guiding light can oftentimes be a little distracting, a little misleading. And, you know, this may seem a bit controversial because I'm always the one who says, my goal is to be happy. I do things to be happy. But one of the challenges there, and you know, hear me out on this, is that oftentimes when we look at happiness, we don't say whether is it happiness today or happiness in the long term. Is it the short term or the long term? And those are different things, eh? So when I woke up at 4:30 this morning to let my trainer in, that's not happiness. When I told my women in International Women's Forum I couldn't join them on court because I had to come and work on this presentation last night, that's not happiness. But that's the short-term work for the long-term gain. When I keep calling a potential donor for the University of the West Indies, and that person hiding from me and don't return my call, that's not happiness. But in the long term, we're going to build that relationship. We're going to connect. So it's a matter of looking at your short-term goals of happiness and your long-term goals. If we spend our lives pursuing happiness, we'll never be able to bear the hard work, the doubt, the stress. And we have to be careful about that stress that it takes to achieve great things. So in order to achieve the life we want, we have to accept really up front that the path is going to be rocky, that we're not going to be happy all the time. But that's okay. That's okay. So we have to let go of the entitlement that the world owes us something. The world owes us nothing. Nothing. So sit yourself down and come to terms with the fact that the gap between where you are now and your ideal self is not a path full of rainbows. It's a path full of hard work. And I remember Scotiabank, we used to say smart work. It's a path full of mistakes and self-doubt. And that's why, so few people achieve greatness. Feel empowered by accepting this, ladies and gentlemen. Empowered that you know how hard it's going to be, but you decide to do it anyway. Prepare yourself for battle. Prepare yourself for battle. No matter how much advice you get, no matter how motivated you are, you eventually have to face fear, as Rochelle shared with us earlier, anxiety, doubt, and fatigue. Because you work so hard, you're tired. You have a double burden of work and home and parents and kids. You're tired. But you have to persevere anyway. Tell yourself, it's not going to be easy, but you're going to fight through. Tell your neighbor, I learned that from, was it Rochelle or Nsombe? Tell your neighbor, it's not going to be easy, but you're going to fight through anyway. Tell your neighbor. And guys, in all of this, prepare yourself to go through increasingly strong opposition. Because I know some of my friends here, I'm not telling my neighbor, we're not into that kind of amen, yes, it's going to happen. But you have that opposition from within, from yourself. And this is what we have to let go. We have to let go. By knowing what's coming and eliminating the surprises, we can achieve our dreams. We know what we have to do to achieve our dreams. So one of the things I heard Kelly say yesterday is that break it down. Break it down. Build the house brick by brick. I mean, one of the hardest things that we need to overcome about long-term success is that you don't complete the objective immediately. You don't learn a new language after one lesson. You don't write a book in one sitting. You don't get a six-pack after one jog. And that's why we need the Spanx, right, ladies? All this can be disappointing after putting in so much effort and not seeing the immediate results. But the key here is we need to focus on the system of behavior. We need to focus on the system of behavior instead of the long-term goal. Break down your goals into bricks, which when laid one by one will eventually build a house. And live life intentionally. At a function here a few months ago, when AmCham was recognizing Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Shelly-Ann says, I have to go soon because of the training. She wakes up in the morning and she knows exactly what she's going to do for the day. She doesn't wake up and say, boy, what am I going to do today? What should I do today? I know I have to speak that way for Stuart. What should I do today? She knows exactly what she wants to do. She lives life intentionally. So guys, and Popcorn, I think you were ahead of me. Now I need you. We're going to build. The answer is right in front of all of us. After the day and a half, the answer is here. We have heard it. The answer is here. So what separates the bold from the beaten, the winner from the loser, is the willingness to decide that every single day I choose to overcome fear of failure. I choose to have a positive worldview. I choose to use stumbling blocks as stepping stones. I choose to work darn hard, building the house brick by brick, and living life intentionally. Because I know, and I accept the fact that that's what it takes to achieve my dreams.
Let me start that one, yeah. Like how Martin Luther King would have started. My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream.
Come on,
Tell
guys,
you
stand
my
up.
dream is to live my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me save. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no fi cry over me dead. Look at me now.
Thank you very much. I didn't know anybody knew the rest of the song.